Okay, we're live. It's James Middick speaking, trainingsites.io, another open classroom. Any questions having anything to do with starting, building, growing your education business, AI tools, prompts, custom GPTs, web apps, courses, campuses, anything to do with that, I'm open for questions today. So just make sure to add them to the chat. I'll do my best to answer them as quickly as possible. And again, I'm open to anything in terms of questions. If you've run into some tools or there's stuff that you do, that you're doing that you want to take a look at, I can do that too. Again, these are open sessions. So um, I've got a Ring doorbell, and I think what I'll do is I'll just make sure that the ring doesn't go on anymore because someone's at the door. And if it's not someone at the door, it's probably the Amazon truck driver, unfortunately, dropping something off, fortunately or unfortunately. So um, yeah, so let me know if there are any questions. Again, I'll make myself available best as I can. Put them into the comments. Give me a thumbs up if I'm talking about something that is of interest and not of interest. But it's exciting times, really exciting times this week. I took a little bit of last week off, actually. It's an Easter holiday here for me. It's a stat holiday, actually, a countrywide holiday. So I did take a little bit of time off and did build, I think, 6 custom GPTs last week or over the weekend, just playing around with it. So I'm excited about that space. I also have a web app that I'm building that isn't quite the way I want it yet. So that one should be available as well. And it actually creates, I'm going to turn the volume down here. That actually creates courses or lets students create the courses. So that's the other kind of web app that I'm working on. And these things are happening so quickly and so many different opportunities are becoming available. It's really hard to stay focused on what is important if you're just interested in sharing your expertise and getting paid for it. And I think, that's the rabbit hole that a lot of us get down to or get stuck in, is that there are so many different things that are happening and so many different opportunities that it's really, really, really hard to stay focused on stuff that matters. So I should probably create a ChatGPT for that, shouldn't I? Actually, it's funny. I did create one for doing soft pivots. And I think that's a question that I get on a regular basis is like, am I doing this or am I focusing on the right thing? Or is the topic that I want the one that I should be doing to make sure that there's a business opportunity on it? So I did do a custom GPT on soft pivots. That one is just being put up now, actually, and I can kind of go over these for you if you want. So give me a thumbs up if you want to see some of the custom GPTs that I built. I just put a video out a couple minutes ago before we got on here about sort of 6 questions to ask yourself before you start creating and or selling any of these AI tools that everyone seems to be creating. Uh, let's see who came on here. We've got hey Mark, nice to see you. Hey ho, hi ho. Yeah, so I don't know what it's these chats. If you do have questions or stuff, please just let me know what you're thinking of, what you want to talk about. I'm open to any of that. And if you don't do that, I may ramble a little bit, but I'll ramble about something cool, and then we can go over it. I think, if no one's got any questions, what I will do is I will spend a couple minutes kind of just going over the GPTs that I just created, and you'll see where they are and kind of how they work. The other thing that I'm going to be spending time over the next little while, next week or so, is really honing in and focusing on building your own campus, building your own community, and the business model that I use. Hey, Michael, thanks for joining in. The business model that I've been using that I really like, that I'm comfortable with as a follically challenged guy who's been around, is not an overly marketing aggressive, in your face, heavy lead funnel, buy ads, that kind of stuff. I've been quite successful using YouTube as my audience builder, like my own TV station, putting as much content onto YouTube as I possibly can, and inviting people into the community where I have free content because content is free now, but I do charge for AI tools that I create and also for any of the live guidance things of that. Person of interest, can you please talk about the NuVu school that you mentioned in the other video? What are my takeaways? Yeah, we can certainly, we'll certainly cover that. And if you didn't see that, I'll open up that site now. This is one that I ran into. Let me pull the site up here. This is one that I ran into maybe a month or a month and a half ago. This one is called NuVu .school or NuVuSchool.org. And one of the things that I've really been focusing on personally in all of this is kind of flipping. Like, you've heard of a flipped classroom before. Well, let me step back a second. When I first got into all of this online course stuff, when course content was not a commodity, it was about protecting the content and generating as much content as you can, put it into some kind of structured or curated order, but keep it private, keep the content private. And that content was not necessarily about teaching a skill or having someone implement or apply something. It was more about, here's my content and it's unique to me. No one else has it the way that I put it together, so you got to pay to access the content. And as I've got into this a little more deeply, and I'm not a trained or licensed teacher by any way. I haven't been involved in the school system at all. I've only been involved with adults and teaching adults or sharing my experiences with adults. But one of the things that I've kind of run into is that with AI, there's a lot of the school systems and a lot of the people I've been running into on this channel and in the site are from the traditional university education systems or have been in some of the large institutions that were using that kind of old model of content and not having things applied and actually implemented. And I think, with AI content being spit out so quickly, that switch is one that is starting to take place. And the one that I'm talking about right now, this one called NuVuSchool.org. And again, I just ran into this. I went over it. I think it's pretty cool because it mirrors what I'm trying to do and working at doing at trainingsites.io, and this whole teach online kind of experience with AI is it's a school in Boston. It's a private school, and I don't know what I'll look here. Like, again, this is one, yeah, so it's ages between 13 and 18 that they're looking for. Three-step admission process structured to help you learn. And then, basically you have to go through it. And the tuition for 25-26 is 50 grand. So includes enrollment, materials, tools, and resources, and 3 payment plan options. So this is one that's through the actual year. Now this is a cool system because what they do, and I'll show you the curriculum just so you can kind of see this. The way that this school works is that they have studios. So they don't have classrooms, they have studios. And in the studios, they do 4 to 6 week studio sessions, and they do 2 trimester. So you may have, like, your regular 3 month kind of semester. They do 2 of these studios during the actual trimester. The part that they do, and it appears from what I've seen, is that there is like language arts and some of the soft skills that they're being taught, but a lot of the ones are studios that are based on specific projects. So it's like, um, how do I accomplish something, or how do I implement something? And what happens is that the teacher or the coach mentors them or guides them, bringing the different pieces in together to actually get the project done. And they're collaborative cohorts live where they're actually working and implementing things and learning what they need to learn as they actually go through this. So they do these studios, and then they have seminars at the end of the day. And the seminars, from what I read and looked at this, is it's like a group collaborative session where the instructor, coach, guide, mentor is there answering questions in the group about what was applied or what was set up in the studio while they're doing it. And at the end of these studios, they basically have to do a presentation of what they accomplished during the actual thing. So this is a school that is fundamentally different than what maybe like what I grew up on, maybe what you grew up on, in terms of, here's the content. Let's make sure that in this, this term that you understand and we can call the content, The focus is completely on the project and the studio and the application and implementation of it. And that's exactly what I think is happening for us as adults as all of this content becomes available to everyone just by going to ChatGPT and doing some prompts. And the thing that, when I look at this right now, the thing that, we have to keep in mind is that we who are using ChatGPT, there's millions of people who are using ChatGPT or any of these AI tools. There's a huge percentage of the population that, either hasn't heard of it or hasn't had access to it or hasn't played around with it. But that's changing. And as the people that we used to sell courses to start using ChatGPT and using it as a search engine and getting the same stuff that we're actually creating as well, what we traditionally call content, I think the value of what it is that we create as content is going to decrease. The value of what we can do in these workshops and these studios is where we'll be able to charge. And it's our skill to help people in those studios that I think is something we can monetize. This school's charging 40 or 50 grand a year for the high school students. If you're in a business situation or even a personal one where you're doing something to consumer, if they're overwhelmed by all of the content that's being given to them, but they need some guidance, you can charge for that. And I think you can charge a lot more than what you normally would for what a set and forget course. So I'm excited about that. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of that coming up. And again, if you haven't, I suggest that you go and check that one out. Mark, yeah, you did flipped learning at university. I think that's kind of halfway there, right? The flipped classroom, where it's like you do the stuff first, and the course is the supplemental content. Um, this is it's going to be exciting, and I'm looking at it from a business perspective. An online education business, not necessarily the school or university one, and the ability for people to create content on their own, but and small chunks. Doing long form seminars or lectures and having people go through those is something that I think and hoping to monetize that is going to be a lot harder moving forward. And I'll just talk about this one thing. Some people say to me, James, they go, "How come you're doing long form content? Like how come your videos are 20 minutes long, 19 minutes long, 23 minutes long?" Um, and here's my answer to that. If you have been on, let me just open some of these up here for a second. Let me just do this one here. If you go into AI Studio, and if you haven't already, aistudio.google.com is the link. I've been playing around. This is kind of the experimental area where Google is, and I think personally, Poppy AI, we'll talk about that one in a second, Michael. Yeah, so the AI Studio one, here's the thing with this, and this is what's coming with video. And I got really excited about this because if you haven't played around with there's a couple things that on the left-hand side, there's the stream where you can talk to Gemini Live, and it will look at your screen, look at your webcam or the actual live video, and you can also talk directly to the AI. So this one was kind of cool. And the part that caught me was that it has the ability to actually know what the elements are in a video. And the example I use is a pickleball player, right? So I did some videos where it was someone playing pickleball. It was a doubles pickleball game where they had two players on a court behind a net playing a sport. And this tool is being able to know who the players are, what the ball is, where they're positioned on the court, and you could have a conversation about what they were doing on the video. So the question is, why would you create long-term video? Because what's happening now is these tools are able to analyze and cut down and synthesize content in whatever size chunks they need and or want when they're being recalled for use in a course. And that's why one of the things I'm working on is creating apps that allow the student to create the course content that they need based on the videos that are done. Excuse me. So that's, kind of happening in the background. The cool part for me personally is all of this is happening like lightning quick. Um, Stuff just in the last 2 weeks. One of the other ones that I ran into was a video tool that allows you to create videos from text prompts. That one has always been, there's a couple of them available. It was always like a 5 or 10 second video. This one now does 1 minute videos. So can you imagine in 3 months from now or 4 months from now, if you're creating some kind of course content or demonstration of something, you can use a text prompt to create a 4 or 5 minute video. It's not necessarily required that you have to get up in front of the camera and actually start doing this one. So just exciting times, content, 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 but don't get hung up on the actual perfection in the content, because the AI tools are going to be able to parse the information, whether it be visual or audio or actual text from the transcription. So Poppy AI to create content. Notebook LM do what Poppy AI does, farming able several linked YouTube videos to create voice and content. That's a good question. I don't know specifically the answer to that one. I do know Google Gemini Poppy several linked YouTube videos to create voice and content. You know what? I'm not 100% sure. The actual AI Studio stuff is back on my radar to go back and look at Notebook LM, because there's a couple things that it does do now that are kind of different. Maybe I'll do that. I have another video in my list to actually do this one, but I will show you two things on Notebook if you're not aware of them. Hopefully you are, but if you're not aware of them, there's two things that kind of came up and became important. Now, if you're looking on the screen here, you can see I logged into my Notebook account. A couple things that are also here to kind of focus on. One of the ones is, hopefully you can see my mouse moving the mind map there. You can add all of your content on the left-hand side when this is your sources, but you can also now mind map it. And this is exciting because what it allows you to do is upload all of your resources that you've maybe put or created about a particular topic, and it now allows you to basically have a mind map that shows the relationships between the topics of all of them. So this one is kind of cool. And you can see it basically spins it out on all of the different pieces. So that one's, I think, for course creators is something we're going to be able to use to take a look at what we've been talking about and then realize what are the topics that we're covering on a regular basis. Then go and look and where's the uptake, where are people kind of interested on that one. And you can actually download it as well and keep it for yourself. And I'm not mistaken, it saves it in Markdown, and what that means is you can actually open it up in your own mind mapping tools. So that one's kind of cool. The other thing is it allows Discover now. So even if you have added documents, you may find that you're missing something. You can use Discover and then actually do a prompt. So they've got Gemini built into this so that you can actually get additional information and research. Think of Perplexity or some of those things, and actually have it brought into your sources for individual products. Poppy AI I played around with again. I haven't. If you have if you have examples of stuff you've done with Poppy, hey, let me know. I'll go take a look at it. Um, Maybe that's not the right one. Might be. See if that one. Get Poppy. Sorry, my apologies. Yeah, this one. I looked at this a while ago. I haven't looked at it again. Probably be a good idea to actually spend some time with it again. Um, this is the one that's got the video, and if I'm not mistaken, this one is kind of more for marketers, right? Give me a thumbs up if that one's more for marketers and doing kind of marketing stuff as opposed to doing educational content. um, the other ones that I have been playing around with, mind maps, motion like editor, yeah, voice notes, PDFs, yeah, pretty cool. All of these are great ones, and again, you kind of have to pick your shots on the ones that you want to use or the ones that you feel comfortable with. They all end up kind of blurring together for me anyway. Especially, I started doing open tabs is how I got into the YouTube channel, where I'd run into 7 or 8 different tools on a regular basis, and they're coming out so quickly it's hard to stay up with it. So if you do find one that you like, obviously stick with it and play with it. Um, there's a This is actually one that's kind of interesting. If you haven't been to this one before, this one is called There's an AI for That. And let me just log in on this one. And I believe it's free to log in. But right now, just to give you an idea of how crazy this one is, I'll see if I can get it bigger so you can see it. right now there's 35,000 AI tools for 14,000 tasks. So, you can take a look here and go through. There's an AI for that. There's some AI tool that is actually available um, to use and find something to do that. Michael's saying that Poppy AI can be used to create video scripts and blog articles for any niche. Very cool. Very cool. The one thing I've been doing personally is, and again, it's my personal take on it, is what I've been doing now is I find myself creating my own custom GPTs to streamline stuff like creating a thumbnail text, creating a video script, or one of the ones that I did for the thumbnail text that I have available for sale now actually comes up with a scoring system for thumbnails, titles, and text for YouTube videos. It then creates emails to go out for marketing. It also creates social media posts to use. And I have another version that actually is text to image that creates the thumbnails as well. And I found the reason that we use tools like Poppy and ChatGPT is you end up learning how to prompt, and hopefully the prompt that you tell gets one piece of those, and then you manually have to string them together. So I've been creating custom GPTs. If you find a tool that gets the results that you like, and if it's one of the other ones or one of the 35,000 that are available and you like it, absolutely go and use it and have some fun with it. So let me see, there's other questions here. What do we got going on? Uh, courses and Mark saying, I offer courses and webinars for freelancers, small businesses, and tradespeople to help them become visible. I'm a bit of a Gary V style approach. So do you swear when you're talking to people? Yeah, Gary V is kind of interesting. I don't know if you've been I follow him and I get his stuff on a regular basis. And he talked a lot for the last couple months just about social media. And then the last week or two, he's starting to talk about AI. So I don't know if he's been converted over or what's kind of happened there. It's going to be interesting where he kind of goes with that. But that's an interesting style. It's kind of that in your face, here it is, let's work on it, and to do it with people. So if you're doing online courses, Mark, give me a thumbs up. Are these content courses, or are you doing cohorts where you're involved? Or how are you monetizing the kind of courses? You said you're doing webinars. Is a webinar for lead generation, or is it actually in some kind of training or application of stuff? I'd be interested to kind of hear what your thoughts are on that. Um, you believe that more people want to learn, do it themselves, or are they really just looking for someone to take care of them? The answer I say to that is yes. Let me just open up my pencil here. Get my trendy, not trendy. See if I can get it to work. One of the things I have is there's a thing for. I have a little iPad here, and it's got this thing called Video Pencil on it that works sometimes and doesn't work other times. So I'll put it in. There we go. We should have a video. So hopefully you can see that. This is the way that I look at it in terms of, what you were talking about with, what people want and how I look at things. Again, take this with your own experience and see what happens. But this, traditionally what I've seen is always, this kind of funnel, and everyone talks about sales funnels. And, it's always about at the top, there's the lead gen. So lead generation, getting people into your funnel, doing free offers and webinars and stuff in exchange for people's email address. And then you might have something that is a low ticket offer where you have the $17 product, the $37 product, the $97 product, and it's kind of a course that you're selling. And then the idea here is that you're going to start getting some bigger ticket pieces into platform courses, or packages or groups of courses or memberships of courses. So in terms of how you set up your business, that was the way that I've always been taught to do it, kind of that way. I look at that as a little bit differently there, because when I'm kind of thinking of it now, is I think of it more of a pyramid like this. And I think of YouTube as the foundation of that. And the reason I focus on YouTube is what I want here is I want people to be in my audience. So that's why I actually do these sessions is basically just do as much content as I personally can. And it replaces, for me, it replaces traditional lead generation. So I don't do any advertising. I don't do any social media on purpose. I don't, buy ads or buy leads. All I do is YouTube videos, and I repurpose some of that content, and I have it set up that it automatically pastes to social media, but I don't have like a content schedule and posting and all sorts of fancy stuff for social media. I just create and try and build an audience where I have as much content as I possibly can available to get a group of people. And what I try and do from there is get people into my community. So that audience, that big group of people, I want to kind of streamline them in, and I have that kind of free level. And that free level is the DIY group. So I put it in. So if someone is interested in something and they say, "Hey, James is talking about AI tools and learning communities and campuses and online courses," it's kind of that audience and taking them in to say, "Hey, I want to do it myself and learn how to actually get it done." And in that particular case, I offer my DIY content for free. So think of it as the free course, the free prompts, any of the stuff that I create for free. I try and put it in, but I keep it in my community, my privately branded campus, where I have access to people. I can share with people, people who have raised their hand. They may lurk, they may just take advantage of the DIY content, but there's a group of them that are going to want to do the DWY, which is the done with you crowd. And that's when you get into the live cohorts and addition people. And then after that, you're going to get people who are wanting mentoring or coaching, that kind of thing. So think of it almost as an hourglass, right? I have my agency part of my business. I have mentoring at the top of that hourglass. And for me, the marketing is on YouTube, building an audience and getting people into the community. And anything I do in YouTube, right at the very top of it is join the community. And if someone joins the community, I have their email address automatically, and then I can automate the process of onboarding them into the community and getting them involved and all of the other services that I have available to them. So I think personally, DIY is free now. If someone wants to do it themselves, they can. But there's so much information that they are looking for a little bit of extra help. Can you do it with me? And this is the same idea as this flip school, right? That NuVuSchool.org. It's like I have a unique thing. I need a course for myself. I need something in my situation. I got 1,000 DIY courses, or I can create my own DIY course, but I need a little bit of help based on your experience and what you've done. And I'm comfortable with you because I've been in the community for the past month or 2 months or week or 6 months. But when it's time to actually apply something, the money is in the done with you now, not in the DIY product. And then done for you is the agency one, and that's something that I offer as well. If you want a campus set up, like trainingsites.io, you just want that done for you, we have a package for that. I can get a site set up like that in about a day. You can learn to figure out by yourself, or you can just say, hey, I want it done. And that's one of the things that we actually offer. And that's why I think it's going to be as other people who come on who are not fancy GPT people or up on AI, they're going to be overwhelmed and they're just going to say, yeah, I get that. I need that. Build it for me, which is a custom GPT and or a web app where they just get that piece they want to know. Or if they're really wanting to look for a system or a process, they're going to say, hey, can you do it with me or apply it, or can you just do it for me? I don't have time. I'm running a regular business. Can I just have time with it? So hopefully that kind of, gives you a little bit of idea that's there. Mark, you were saying paid courses and free webinars. So you're using, basically you're replacing YouTube with free webinars, and you can get people on those and have those available. If you have those free webinars, give me a thumbs up if you're actually adding those webinar recordings to YouTube as YouTube posts. Is that something that you're doing? Um, It'd be interesting to do that. There are a number of tools now that I've been playing around with. Example is there's actually two custom agents that I think are too expensive yet, but if you look at Manus.im or GenSpark as ones, there's Make N8N as automation tools where you can take your webinar, create social media posts, create a YouTube video from it, post it, send emails, and that whole thing. So as long as you're creating content, whether that's directly a YouTube video or a webinar or a Zoom call, but then posting it in as broad an audience as you could possibly find, and get in front of potential people that will be your members or community. That's the real work for all of us in terms of marketing, not trying to figure out what's the fanciest hook and what's the way I can use clickbait to get people to opt into an infographic that they can create on ChatGPT for themselves. Um, yeah, so Mark, bottom up, not a marketer. I've been there. It's really tiring, and it's getting cheesy, in my opinion. I'm not saying it's not for you. I'm just saying I'm too old for this stuff anymore. I don't want to do any of it, and trying to figure out what's the best way to, hook people or get people in to try and make sure that they're interested in me. I'd much rather say, hey, here it is. Take it, leave it. If you like it, you do. If you don't like it, you don't. I get that, but here's my content. And that's the other reason that I do all of my videos live. I do live edits. I don't bother with any of the video editing. It's basically just, hey, here it is. If I make mistakes, that's fine. If I show the wrong screen, that's fine. It's just me, my content, trying to be authentic and real, sharing the stuff that I've had 25 years of creating courses about, thousands of videos and hundreds of courses over the time. So hopefully that helps. Any more questions? Let me know if this is kind of interesting, if it's something you want to spend more time on. I'm all open for that. AI tools, using AI tools. If you want to see some of the custom GPTs that I built out, let me know. We can do that as well. The video that I just launched a couple minutes ago, before we did that, let me just pull this one up here. This is one that I just did. Let me just do this one. Yeah. Let's go to my content here. We'll open this one up. Yeah, so this is one that I just did a couple minutes ago.
Okay, let's go live. It's
You
James
can
Smitty
see I have
speaking,
the same shirt on here.
tradingsites.io.
Yeah, so this one was all about the using custom GPTs in for sale in your website, and kind of the 6 questions that I go through on doing this. So these are ones where I try and do digital exhaust. I try and capture what I'm doing while I'm doing it to use it as a video and just record it while I'm doing that. Hey Susan, custom GPTs, yeah, absolutely, I can do those ones. Um, but I try and do these as quickly as I can, and I'm a big fan of digital exhaust. So if I can make sure that if I'm doing something for myself or my customers that has value of something that other people would want to know about, and it doesn't matter how many it is, it's part of your audience, you basically just record what you're doing while you're doing it. And in fact, this is what I did on this one, because I have these custom GPTs that I've created, and I had to figure out how the heck am I going to sell them now? What am I going to do to put them together or sell them? So I did up a video of me going through the process of actually doing it, or the steps that I went through to actually do it. And in my case, do I have, let me do this one here. Yeah. So I use Xmind to put these together. The one that I did here, let me just open this up a little bit. Yeah, so these are kind of the 6 questions, and this is in that video, kind of where do they fit in? What part of the platform are they in? Where do you want them in your campus to be? How do you want them to be purchased? What instructions or resources they need to have. So having this custom GPT or a web app as part of a revenue stream for your education business is another way to kind of replace what was traditionally a course, is doing or providing the output for people about a specific problem. And I think Michael or Mark, you were asking about one of the things about, having course content, having AI tools create the course content that's personal to the student who wants to learn it. The other way is trying to figure out how can I create a tool that removes someone having to learn something because they can just use the tool to get what it is that they actually want to create, which is kind of interesting. How do and Susan, I'll do the custom GPTs in a second. How doing lives? How do you hide your emails or logins or personal information? That's an excellent question, and I'll show you how I do it right now. So let me just go back. So let's say, for example, I have to log in somewhere. I use Ecamm, which is a live streaming software for the Mac. There's one called OBS, which is one that goes on your PC. There's also two that I'm familiar with that are softwares as a service. One of them is StreamYard. The other one is Riverside FM. And all of these particular tools, what they have is the ability to create scenes. On my setup, I've got this scene, this scene, this scene, this scene, this scene, this scene. So I've got a listing of scenes that are available. One of the things that I do personally is I can do those live edits between them. And I use that software and a little stream deck from Elgato. And let me just see if I press one of the buttons here, for example, it changes, right? So one of the things that I do is you play around with that. You just do some live ones. Don't have them broadcast. You can put them as private. You don't have to have them actually go live, but practice them live. And if I have to go and log in, I'll put it on, for example, this screen, but what I might be doing on my actual computer is logging in somewhere. So in terms of hiding it, I just go from one scene to the other or move it to a scene where I don't necessarily have my screen showing. So that's how I hide emails or logins or personal information, is doing that. Is I just switch to another scene, and basically work that way. The other thing I have, and all of the software I mentioned, like StreamYard, all of those ones, they do the exact same thing. They all have scenes. So any of the tools that kind of have the ability to do a scene is something that you can use to get around that. The other thing I will mention is if you're doing like a Zoom call when you're sharing a screen, some of the times, not all of the times, what I do personally is I have two monitors. So often what I'll do is I will share one screen and I share the entire screen. And then on the other screen, I will log in or do what I need to do and it's not showing. And then I will bring it over to the Zoom screen. So I'll hide it that way and make sure that, there's nothing going on that doesn't need to go on. Same thing for like API keys. If you're showing how to use a piece of software, sometimes you have to create an API key and plug it in. You basically explain what you're doing, creating an API key. This is where I do it. And then I click here to get my API key. You're just not showing the screen when you're narrating what it is that you're doing. So hopefully that helps. The reason I was showing that video earlier, that one that had, let me just go and open this one up again. The reason I was showing that video earlier about the 6 steps is because I had to use that when I was creating the custom GPTs that I created. And in mine, what I did on this one is I created some courses. I have each of the custom GPTs as a course. I set them up as a course. One of the things I did earlier is I set them up. And by the way, if you're wondering what this software is that I'm using, this is Fluent CRM. And if you're one of the paid members, you actually get, sorry, this is Fluent Community. If you get a campus pass in one of the campus builders, that's my paid membership level, you actually get this software free so that you can use it on your own site. But on my particular one, there's two kind of main areas in the community. One is the spaces, which is like a kind of think of it like a Facebook group. And that's a place where you can add content, have discussions, maybe traditionally called a discussion forum, but this is a live stream or feed about a particular topic. I was originally going to put it there, but I ended up thinking, you know what? There's additional resources that would be available or needed if someone was going to use one of my custom GPTs and had some questions about it. So what I did is I started creating courses for them. I've created 6 over the weekend here. I've got another whole set of ideas for them. I'll show you where I'm keeping those. And I'm just putting, for example, the different ones that are here. For me personally, what I did is I have an advanced GPT writer. So this is one that actually guides you through the exact steps of creating a complex GPT for yourself or for your customers. And then it gives you the text that you can copy and paste into the GPT editor in your ChatGPT account, a Plus account or higher. But you basically copy the text, paste it in, and you will have your own custom GPT that you can make available. So I have an advanced one, and I also have a beginner one. And the beginner one is free. The advanced one, I'm charging 20 bucks for it, and you have access to it. If you have a campus pass, you get all of these for free. And again, I'm doing this. I did one because I was doing it. So it's just basically copy what you're doing. If it's of value to the people you're trying to help, turn it into a custom GPT or a product. In the past, I maybe would have done a course on it and taught people how to do it, but it's a lot faster to create a tool that does it for them and then have the ability to explain and support people actually do it as opposed to trying to get them the information to do it, but never actually apply it or use it. So that's the way that I kind of set them up. I did 6 of them. The other one here that I really like is the AI opportunity generator. And I started doing 6 of them. The thing that I did with 6 was I used this one first. I was trying to figure out and do a whole bunch of prompts, trying to figure out what are some ideas for custom GPTs and web apps. And while I was doing that, I said, well, I asked for 100 of them. And I said, well, maybe I should have a custom GPT that looks at all of the AI opportunities in my particular market, and it will give me all the opportunities and score them on which ones are popular, which ones might make money, which ones don't. And it basically works you through that and gives you a report or a listing of the ones that you should work on, and then a minimum viable product or an example of what it should cover or what it shouldn't cover. So that's another one that I created as well. And let me just do the other one here. So I have one for instant titles. Anytime I do a YouTube video, I was always struggling with the title and the thumbnail text. So I did one up for that. I did another one for Zoom calls because I find for myself, I'm maybe on, excuse me, 2, 3, 4 Zoom calls in a day. And sometimes it gets kind of hectic. So I built one out for Zoom calls. That one is free as well to take. And then I have one that I have a different name there. It's really about soft pivots. And this is something I run into with a lot of people in the community. They're going, I was thinking of doing that, but I'm not entirely sure now which one should I do, or how should I move, or where should I kind of redirect things. So this is one that helps people who are unsure of the market that they're in to actually go through those. So those are the 6 that are available. 4 of them are paid, 2 of them are free. If you're a Campus Pass member, you actually get access to all of them if you're a member. And the way that they work is, I'll open this one here, Beginner GPT. And I set this one up here. If you take a look at it, you'll see there's a couple things that are set up with it, and hopefully it'll help you out here. This is the reason I set it up as a course. I have the link to the actual GPT that's here. I have the overview and the links again, and then I have some lessons or supplemental information that I wouldn't have been able to put in a group, or maybe I would have had to put in an ebook or someplace else. And it was like, here's some best practices on using it. Here's some advanced techniques, uh, troubleshooting, FAQs, real world use cases, and advanced tips and customizations. So that's how I set out each custom GPT is basically set out as a course, but the first piece here is, how am I going to actually do this? And if I open this up in a new window, you're actually going to see going through that particular process. Oh, that's not good. Something to check after. Oh, awesome. That one didn't work. Let's try this one here. Let me do the ones. Let me do this one here. This one works. I was trying to, so this is the one for YouTube's, for example. So this guides you through creating a YouTube and actually scores them through the way. So this is available as a link for each of those ones. You can actually do it. And the cool thing with these is whenever you're using custom GPTs as an example, is that when you're using this, you'll be able to save all of the times that you used it basically up and down in your chat, right? So these are the exact same things. It's your ChatGPT account. You're logged into ChatGPT. You get to use it. It focuses you on, and this one sets out scoring for the actual. Let me do this one here. So just an example, the one that I did earlier. Just it gives through and through, and it gives scoring for so titles and thumbnails, and then scores them so that you know what's the top score. Which one should I focus on? Which are the ones that show up or have the most likely chance of being clicked on? So that's the kind of thing that I'm creating in those. Just think for yourself. What are the things that you could possibly do, or what are the things that you do that your customers would do, and then create a chat GPT for it. Doesn't have to be a course, doesn't always have to be a course. If you're in the job or working with people to kind of educate them and help them through the process that you're an expert in. Okay. General outline for each live to keep you on track. I'm afraid I'll get off topic or lose my train of thought. So Susan, how am I doing? How am I doing with this? I do an open Q&A. That's how I do it for this session. If I'm doing a topic that I'm doing, a video on with a live edit, there's a couple ways to do it. And one of the things that you can do is if you're using Poppy AI, for example, or ChatGPT, whatever tool, you can basically to say to YouTube, just say, hey, I'm doing a live one. These are the topics I want to cover. Put them in a logical order and suggest screens that I should show during each part of these topics. And it will give that to you. And then you can basically either print that out. And when I first started, I was using an Elgato teleprompter that I had over top of the camera so I can basically look into it and go from there. Right now, what I do is I use a mind map and basically just put together what I want to talk about in a video and then have them as kind of bullet points here. So I go through them and try and stay focused doing it. And just to give you an idea, if I go and do, if I do and open a local file here, actually, let me do, think file new. Yeah, so just an example here. Hopefully you can kind of see this. I don't think I can make this one any bigger. These are mind maps from live streams that I've done or live zero edit ones. So I'll go take a look at these particular ones. This one was on vibe course creating. So I'll just create one of these and then I go through the different pieces. And when I'm talking and showing, I have this open and I know, hey, where am I in the thing? Where am I in the stream? These are the focuses and these are kind of the bullet points or talking points that I want to cover on it. So I use it pretty ad hoc. That's what I'm comfortable with. When I first started doing it, I had a teleprompter with me and it was like right up there. I was trying to follow it best I could, but after you get going, I find that the more you do, the easier that you kind of have a structure to them that you're comfortable with, that seems to be helping people, and you can certainly go with that and use that one. So that's how I do. Mark's on his way out. Thanks for having you, Mark. Again, any more questions here? How long I've been going? What time is it? 48 minutes. I get carried away on these things because there's so much to talk about, and it's such an exciting space for all of us. If you're creating online educational content and you want to have a business that you can monetize with all of that experience you have, again, it's a wonderful time and it's an exciting time. And I think the big part here is that building that audience, get in front of as many people as you possibly can, and then get them involved in your campus, your community, and have that kind of place where you can interact with people, share experiences. You don't have to be the expert. Poppy AI, for example, one that I haven't spent time on. If you've been using one, I have a section in the campus for you to go and start saying, hey, I'm using Poppy. What do you want to do with it? So, I've got right here, we've got the study hall, tools and resources. If you got stuff that you want to share about tools that you've been using, hey, go and share it. Let us know about it. It's not necessarily me having to instruct everything. It's my area of expertise. I'm going to be throwing my content in here, but it's your community. You can bring your value in it and also learn from other people and network with other people. And the difference here, of course, is that if you were just on YouTube and you were watching my YouTube videos, you could be watching 1,000 other people's YouTube videos. But if you get into here, all of this stuff is about starting, building, and growing an education business from your own training site. If there's other stuff that you want to know about, you can either ask in here and get directed to that resource, or it might be something that someone else knows that they want to particularly cover. So hopefully that has. The viral tile generator. Love the scoring system. Yeah, I did that one. I did that one because I find it really difficult to actually create YouTube titles and thumbnails. And some of them work really well. Some of them don't work as well as I think they should based on the content that I created. So I was trying to figure out how can I be consistent with the titles and thumbnails irrespective of the content when it was sometimes the other way around. So I did some research as to, the different styles and then what was working for me and what wasn't working for me, and then tried to build the tool to do that. And I took 6 different kind of pieces, curiosity, SEO, contrarian view. There was 6 of them that are done in the scoring system and basically set it up so that people would be able to, get 10 and then generate them and say, hey, based on your audience and the topic of the video, the benefits that you provide, this is the best, or these are the best kind of titles and thumbnail text that you want to create. And for me personally, I don't do fancy thumbnail graphics. I just use my headshot and text. Personal preference, I find it's too hard actually doing all of the different graphics. Do they work better? I'm not entirely sure for course creating an education business, so I'm not quite sure what the benefit is there as well. Now, if you haven't been in the campus, you'll always get, anytime there's new posts, you'll get this little blue thing here. And also on the upper right-hand side, there's an opportunity to, get notified, see what comments are made. You can also turn it into dark mode if you want and also search. So you can always search through the entire comments, posts, titles, everything is here for you to actually go through. Either one of the groups or all of the posts as well. Courses, study halls, they're all available here. So those are kind of the cool ones that are there. Anything else, Susan? Who's got some more questions? Is there anyone else live who wants got questions as well? Love to answer them. Um, yeah, if you do want to look at those AI tools, I'd love for you to take a look at them. They're almost all up. I'll probably have the rest done this afternoon, but I think I'm going to charge 20 bucks for them. And again, they're yours, obviously, to use as much as you want. If you are wanting to upgrade, we do have, and I'll put another link here for you, but you can get a campus pass. And a campus pass includes a whole bunch of stuff. Specifically, what happens is that each week we have a live working session, which is a Zoom call. So that's one where we actually get together and work on stuff on the Zoom call. It's not a live stream like this where, you basically can only chat. We interact with each other working on your projects. If you have questions specifically about how do I do this, we'll actually do a video up and show you how to do it specifically. I've also got a private group for paid members and a private chat set up for paid members. So during the day, I'm here all the time. I do have some staff that helps me out that's here as well. So that's available for you. And the other thing that I'm giving away as well is that as long as you're a member, you have access to the Fluent Community software, which is the one that I run, Fluent Boards, and Fluent CRM as well is going to be available. So that whole suite of building the campus, those ones, you can go out and buy them on yourself, obviously, or you can use them as part of having the campus here. So Fluent Bookings, Fluent Boards, Fluent CRM, Fluent Community, live messaging, those are kind of stuff. And it's at trainingsites.io/pass is that, where that one particular one is. Okay, what else? Any more questions before I bring it in for a landing here? Anything that people want to see or don't see? Anything that they're interested in the AI space? I will show you one thing before, unless someone asks something. One of the things that if you're serious about the switch between, I think of it this way, actually, let's do this. When I'm looking at all of this AI stuff, the way that it's like we had kind of prompts, right? So it was like prompt response, prompt response. And if you were going to do anything of substance, it's like you had to do 100 prompts in a conversation to get all of the information that you needed. So, the example is the title and thumbnail creator. How many prompts would it take to go through those, score them? It's like back and forth, back and forth. And then, the other kind of piece there was this one let's do this instead. I didn't want to do that. Okay, let me try this one here. I did a mistake by accident. So we got the prompt, and then it's kind of the agent. And that agent is stuff like the custom GPT. It's not even, it's an advanced prompt. Getting to the agents are the ones that are able to string not only the prompts but the special tasks together. And that's kind of cool. That's where a lot of the things about AI automation are located. And also when people talk about AI agents, two agents that you might want to take a look at are, and I'll show these ones to you. There used to be one called ChatGPT /operator. I'm not sure what they did with that one. Actually, let's go take a look. This one, ChatGPT operator, was a browser agent. Yeah, they don't have it. So basically, you gave it a task that was in a browser, and you could actually watch it work in the browser. So that was things like logging into things, creating content, posting it, stuff, finding different websites to do things, logging into websites. It was one that was there, but they never did anything with it. And then after that, the other one that came out that was kind of exciting for me was Manus IM, which is a general agent. And what it was is you give it not a prompt, but you give it a completed task. And what it actually does is it completes the entire task. So it's not just prompt response, it's task completion. And this one was a general agent. And some of the things that I did personally, as an example, I did things on the demos like this, and I did videos on these where I actually said, uh, I have a topic for a course, create the course content, log into my LearnDash account on my website, and post the actual course. And also add my product in WooCommerce and make sure that to buy the LearnDash course, they have to create and link it to the product. So this general agent basically did a huge task that would have taken a lot longer to actually complete. So there's two of those just to fool around with. One is Manus.im. The other one is called GenSpark. And if you haven't heard of these are general agents, and these are the ones that are kind of cool and do sort of the similar thing where it's like a start to finish task. That's kind of the exciting part right now. Um, I think it's going to be even cooler because what's starting to happen is this is something that's browser based, right? There's two things that are coming out. One from Google. One from Google is basically allowing agent to agent talking to each other. So it's going to be stuff where you might want to do something in your browser, but you might want to do something in another complete application. And it's like, how do you get them to transfer the task from one to the other? So that's the part that's new. And I think this year that's going to be coming for anyone who's in the course creation business and creating course content, putting it into your campus, putting it into your social media posts, putting it into webinar information, sending out the webinar invites. This stuff is going to be so cool and it's coming really quickly. Our job is how do we get creative? How do we play around, ask questions that our customers or the people we're trying to teach have based on our experience? And it's our ability to use these tools, whether it be in a custom GPT for now or an agent soon or multiple agents later, staying up on that and using that is part of the really cool part that I think is exciting and a huge opportunity. Course Creator GPT, not lazy, just overwhelmed with creating a course. Yeah, so if you want one of those Susans, I'll have one built for you later today. No, I could do one, but here, let me just let me just show. If anyone, just give me a thumbs up if you want me to show an actual course creator. The one that I've been playing around with that's not available. I can do that. If you want to actually see one, let me know. There is a number of ChatGPTs for that. I have one that I've used personally. Maybe what I'll do is publish it. The two that I've been working on that I haven't got working the way I want yet, these ones are where the student creates the course syllabus and content, not necessarily. And I have a whole video on this, but I'll show it to you so that you can actually see it. So here's one. Let me do. Yeah, so this one was V.0. I have to remember that one. I always do the. Where's my. Yeah, so this one's called V.0, and basically what this is vibe coding. If you've heard vibe coding, basically I was just talking to the tool, and the tool basically created an application, an AI application. So this isn't a ChatGPT, this is an actual application that can be deployed on a website. So if I have virtualselling.com as a domain name, or any other domain name, if I got this working the way I want it, I could just say deploy it to the website, and it's an application that I could charge for. So that's a difference between a custom GPT and a web app. This one is called V0 or V0.dev. And what it was, and I'll open this one up just so that you can kind of see it. What this one did is it allowed the student to basically say, hey, I want to learn about this. This is the way that I want to learn it. So this was a YouTube course creators, the one that I played around with. So I just put in and say, you know what? I want to learn how to start a podcast. And obviously the most context that you put in here, the better that you have. So, and then course style preferences. Do I want it to be like short segments or long segments or comprehensive? What difficulty level do I want it? Is it guided? So I got to take it in order, or will I let people hop around the lessons? And then the content. Do I want it like short and condensed, or do I want it super detailed? Do I want quizzes? And then do I want it deep, deep, deep content or not? And the whole idea with this one is what would happen is this is an application, but what it would do is it would take the request, hand it off to Gemini, and then Gemini will go and search YouTube or Vimeo and find the videos that answer the questions that the student had. And basically puts it together. And this one wasn't working properly, but this is why it's not available yet. And it's basically creating the course. So this one, I got a course outline, introduction to starting podcast concepts, and it basically created the course, fundamentals, applications. And here's the problem that I had is it didn't create the content that I wanted, but it did add the videos and it allowed for notes. And this whole kind of setup is one about creating courses with a custom GPT to use internally, or having one where the student actually creates it and creates the courses. So, this is where I think it's going. I'm trying to get this set up. It's not working properly yet, but if I can do it, and these are tools that are off the shelf, just think what's going to happen in 3 months from now or 6 months from now. Would you rather go and buy a course from someone who has their perspective and maybe a lot of experience, or would you rather be able to learn the stuff that you need to learn from them in a way that you like to learn it and have it personalized to you as a student learning it? Kind of exciting. Build out your applications, build out your custom GPTs, help people do the things that they want to do, and think over and above. This, again, personal belief, my opinion. Work over and above the actual delivery of the content. because it's going to be easier and easier and easier for people to create their own content. But if we can help them not only deliver it the way that they want with the use of some of these tools, but also help and guide them and do it with them when they don't get the answers that they want or they don't know how to apply it in their situation, charge money for it. Charge money for it. Whether it's your time one-on-one or in a group, um, in your campus, in your community, that's the place to do it. And that's what I'm focusing on. So all I'm asking is, play around with that in your head, try and think, how does this fit in with me? And go from there. So I've done that application. I did it in a vibe coding environment called v0.dev. I did another one. I'll do them just so you can see them. I did another one and another one called bolt.new. And don't know if I have that one here. Yeah, so that one I tried to get going. It wasn't necessarily the one that I wanted. It didn't work the way that I wanted. So I was playing around with that one, trying to get that to work. That's bolt.new, so it worked a little bit differently. What do you want to learn about? Is it a complete beginner? Do I have some knowledge? Advanced? How do I want to learn? Learn by doing. Pick the pieces that I want. Just want a quick overview. And I want a short course. Again, different interface, and it basically created a learning path. And I'm having trouble with this one actually getting it to search YouTube. So there's another example of how you might be able to apply it or use it. So that one was bolt new, didn't get it working there. It's really bugging me that I can't get it working the way that I wanted to. And then there's another one called Replit that I was doing, trying to use that one, another vibe coding one, and that one with the preview. Again, all sorts of fancy coding stuff. This one is, these vibe coding ones, I have it on coding right now and I ran out of credits, this is just basically like talking to ChatGPT and it goes and creates the actual course. And in this one, we're spinning one up. There we go. So it's like generate a syllabus, create your course. And this one did through the, course title, beginner, that kind of thing, and created it. Beginner, buy equipment. And again, the more specific that people get here, the better it is. And I'm going to say 1 to 3 lessons, and I generate the syllabus. And there's the actual syllabus that gets created. So you can do this with a prompt and do it yourself internally, or maybe you can do it here with a custom GPT that says, hey, I want to create a custom GPT for myself. And this is what I want to do. This is how I like the syllabuses, and it'll spit out the syllabus for you. But figure out how to do this the fastest way possible to get the result that you want. And whether that's an app that you can use yourself and or sell, or it's a custom GPT that you can build and use for yourself, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. So those are called cool things. Again, the ones that are applications, it's just like dealing with a chat. Those vibe coding ones, I think that, the thing that I've kind of, because I have no technical knowledge, I've never coded before. The thing that I've kind of learned is like playing around with it. It's like you get 90% of it working, but at the end, you still have to talk to someone who's a coder or pay a bit of money to get them to clean things up. But it's coming. It's coming and it will be here in 2025. That's my, I'm betting on it. And you can be creating courses manually, or you can start doing this kind of thing and be ready for what's going on. And it doesn't matter what market you're in. That's the cool part. If you're playing pickleball, or you're doing how to play piano, or if you're teaching communication skills or genealogy, how to track your genealogy, any different leadership skills, how to build houses, how to use power tools, anything that you want to do, you can create the syllabuses and content based on stuff that you're doing in AI tools, whether that be the prompt and response, the tools, ChatGPT and applications, and then have all of these processes put together with agents. So which agents have you tried? I'll answer that last question here. Question is, which of the agents have you tried? Manus, GenSpark, Bolt, etc. would you recommend to start? I have them all too, but misses something and just doesn't complete. Looking at Manus, and that's a really good question. And actually, let me just go here. I'm going to go to my account for a second. And I did a couple Manus ones. I'll view my channel. on this one here, I did do a search here because I did one. And if you haven't watched these, it might help out. Um, I did a course creators warning. I asked Manus to create a course, new Google Notebook course. I asked it to do a Learn Dash one. It did some workflow. So I did some Manus ones. And the problem that I ran into with Manus at this point in time, when I did this, a month ago, the problem that I ran into was that if you ask it to do a whole bunch of tasks, it runs out of context window. And I think that's a fancy way for doing these things called tokens. And a token is like how much gas is in the tank. And you only get, some of these tools only have a certain number of tokens. And if you run out of gas, it kind of stops halfway through. And I found that Manus and even GenSpark ran out of tokens pretty quickly. And when that happens, it doesn't finish the task. So you have to either go through it or manually. And then if you break it down into chunks and you do smaller ones that don't, run out of gas, then you end up doing things that you could have done in another tool, and then because you end up having to piece them together. So the short story for me, and then the last one was about the pricing. The way that they priced it, I think they overpriced it for what it does, and it only makes it worthwhile to do the small chunks, and you'd only get maybe like 4 or 5 processes during a month based on the level, and it was like $39 for that. So I was going $39 a month to maybe get 4 runs of any kind of task that you wanted. So if you wanted to build a course, it might get all the way through it. And then if it didn't, and you had to run 4 jobs, it was $40 for the month to use that. So I've used both GenSpark and Manus. They both work well. The one thing that I will tell you is, let me just show you this actually, one last thing. The one thing that these agents do really well is they create websites really quickly. And you'll see in one of those videos, if you see it, this particular page right here that comes up, this is my mentorship program. So if you want some one-on-one help, it's trainingsites.io/mentor. If you go through this and take a look at it and read it, if you take a look at this, I had nothing to do with this particular web page. This is an HTML web page. The copy, the colors, the graphics, the layout, everything was done by Manus in this particular case. And GenSpark does a very similar job. Again, I didn't do anything. Well, the only thing I did is they said, what are my brand colors? I gave the 2 colors, the green and the blue, and the fonts. That's all I said. Here's my brand kit. What I'm doing is I'm selling mentorships. These are the different kind of pieces that I have. Create a sales page for me. And basically, this is what it generated. So any of those tools, as an example, that are in those kind of agentic kind of movement towards where it's multiple tasks, that is one, for example, that it analyzed what it was about. It took a look at the sales copy that it needed, and then it generated the HTML to do it. So those are all things that I could have done as individual prompts or tasks. Or, if I created a custom GPT that did that one thing back in response and then back in the copy, but have it finish a task like that, that's something that they do really, really well. So Manus, GenSpark, Bolt. Bolt is for vibe coding. And again, this is my understanding of it. Vibe coding is things like V.0, Bolt, Replit. Um, there's one other one I'm forgetting. So those ones are those natural interfaces when you basically talk to the programming tool and you get a basic web app out of it. And then there's some other ones for automations like Make and N8N. Again, I'm not too much into those at this particular point. I'm making sure I have my campus, and the tools that I have running my campus do a lot of the things that people who don't have a campus would have to do externally with things like Make. So for example, in my case, if I go take a look at the stack of tools that I have, and I'll just show you quickly, I have a whole other series of videos on this one. But I'm going to show you behind the scenes on my site the Fluent stack of tools that I have. And let me do this one here. just going to make sure that I have some stuff. I don't know if I want to call it hidden, but we'll put it behind the scenes here. So this was a question, for example, that someone was asking, how do you hide stuff? This is exactly what I'm doing. I'm on another screen. I'm actually hiding some stuff I don't want you to see, but then I'll show you the actual screen and we'll go from there. So here's a stack of tools that I have, and I'm trying to make it as big as I can here. Just so it doesn't. Yeah. So I have Fluent CRM. I have Fluent Community, which runs a community and the LMS. I have Fluent Boards, which is the project management tool that I keep track of all of this stuff. I have Fluent Support, which is the help desk that runs all of the ticketing. I have Fluent Booking. So if you want to, book some 15-minute session with me, it's trainingsites.io/talk. That does all the bookings and calendars. All of these, Fluent Forms, Fluent Snippets, this whole set of tools is all connected and automated together. So for example, for me, if someone, signs up in on a form in Fluent Forms, like you did maybe when you signed up on the join page, you filled in a Fluent form, which automatically added people to Fluent CRM as a contact, which automatically added people to the community and gave them access to certain parts of the community. Anytime that I do a video, it's in the board. Anytime I get a support ticket, it goes to the support one, and anything that happens in the support ticket is tied to the CRM tool. So I have it all in my privately branded campus. Some people that are doing automations are actually have external stuff, and they're trying to connect all of the different pieces. So I don't necessarily have to do that. That's why I don't kind of work on it too much. The other thing I will show you here, and this is something that just so that you see it, is I do have, let me just come up with, yeah. The other kind of tool that I use on a regular basis is one called BitSocial. And I'm pretty sure that this is a company that owns TikTok, the developers that own TikTok. I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't hold me to it. But this particular BitSocial one, what happens is I have it set up so that anytime I post something, whether it be a YouTube video or a blog post, anything that I do as a post in my site automatically gets posted to LinkedIn, Facebook, um, uh, some of the groups and posts, and I think I have it going to X right now as well. So that gets posted automatically. I don't have to worry about that. So these are all things that I automate internally. Sometimes you've got to do it externally. And that's basically kind of behind the scenes with my campus stuff that we work on. So any other questions? How long have I been going on here? Holy mackerel, an hour and 15 minutes. I think I'll bring it in for landing. If you haven't already, please make sure to join trainingsites.io/join. If you are interested in having a quick chat with me, make sure to go, and I'll make sure I'm in the right kind of picture here. We'll reset it. Yeah, so go to trainingsites.io. In the community here, say hello. If you're using tools and resources, get in the study halls on the left-hand side and kind of pick it. And then, if you want to work with me for a while and just have a chat with me on the left-hand side, you can book some time to talk here. Love to find out what you're doing, and you can share a little bit. I'll either guide you to resources I have inside or some of the other ones that I've been using to start, build, and grow my education business. So my name is James. Thanks for coming out. Glad you could join me. We'll be again back next week. But if you have any questions, put them in the site. I'd love to talk about them and at least get some learn from you. And hopefully you'll pick some stuff up if I have some answers. So take care. Expect the best. Like and subscribe to the channel. We'll be back next week.